Yeah, I'm so extra. Express myself, I'm next up. Yeah, what more do you say? Coming up. Yeah. Come on now. Come on, stop me. Come on. You coming up.
Good evening, everyone. Oh my, welcome. We are in the house this evening. The Hop series back for our weekly show, for our Tuesday podcast, and we are excited about tonight. We're excited to have you watching. So as you come in, will you do us a favor? Will you share this out, share it out so your friends and family can join on, because we have a great topic for tonight. We're talking about something that people just don't want to discuss, but it's very necessary. It is necessary for us individually to have what we're going to discuss this evening. We are honored. I'm April Anderson, and I am one of the hosts, and I am joined here by the lovely Morgan Harvey. Hey, Morgan, how are you?
How are you?
I am here and accounted for. Happy to be here. Hello, Facebook user, and I bet that's Maybach. Is that what his name is? That's the name, right? I think that's who our Facebook user.
Look, in 2024, we gonna get this right, okay?
We are going to get this. We're gonna get his name correct. I'm sorry. You know what? Oh, charging to my head and not my heart. I am grateful that you are on here. Thank you so much. So
Yes.
Please share this out. So you were telling me, how was your day been? What's been going on?
Today has been a need for self-care day. 100%. I had an extra therapy session today, trying to just place a lot of feelings and emotions and stuff. And so, yeah, it's been, you know what, life is just lifing. And right
Yes.
now I kind of just need to sit down somewhere. So that's what I did today.
You know,
I mean, I handled some things, but I found some places to sit down because, you know, like we always say, nobody really talks about what happens for us as entrepreneurs when stuff happens, when, you know, we're not having a good day, when, you know, mentally, you know, we're not in the best of places. What's supposed to happen? And not taking care of self can literally be detrimental to the very things that we're working hard for. So, you know, we've got to be able to find that balance so that we can be able to, you know, keep what we are working towards, but then at the same time, you know, give ourselves that grace and the time that we need to, you know, take care of everything else that's going on. So
Absolutely. One thing that I love about us and I love about this show is that we're real. When we deal with things, when we face things, when stuff is happening, we real about that. And that's what a lot of people need to understand. That, my goodness, I thought I was the only one that dealt with that. I thought I was the only one who would need an emergency therapy session, or maybe 2 in a day, because stuff is going on. But that's real. You know, I always want to be transparent with things as much as I can with things that are going on, because I never know who's watching and who's going to be helped by what we're dealing with and what we're facing. So I'm glad you recognize that. But even to going further, as you were talking about entrepreneurship, we are it. And if we run ourselves ragged and we don't take the time for us, then there goes the business. It goes down, it ends, so many things can happen from it. So we got to take care of us first, and whatever that looks like. So for all of you entrepreneurs out there, don't burn yourself out. You started this organization, you started a business, and you have passion for it. Don't let that passion drive you to the point to drive yourself in the ground where you cannot enjoy the fruits of your labor, nor really see about helping others. So really take that time to look into yourself. Well, this is December. This is the end of 2023. and we will shortly be rolling into 2024. I can't even believe that. Can you believe how quickly this year has rolled by?
Not at all.
It's way too fast, way too fast. And I'm scrambling trying to figure out, okay, what's the next step? What's going on? What am I doing
I
next?
know, we're about to hit a 1-year anniversary in
I
doing
know.
this, and it doesn't even feel like that
doesn't.
long.
It does not. But when you look back on the months since January and all of the people that we have had on, I can't wait to have our Where Are They Now?
I
To
know.
bring our people, some of our folks in to see what are they doing, what's going on. That's going to be very exciting. So we are planning that. Where Are They Now for this month? And then when we roll out in 2024, it's going to be bananas. It's going to be great. I'm excited about taking Hop Series to the next level. Peach and Smack have entrusted us with their baby, and we are going to treat the baby well. We're going to do well. So hopefully those of you that have been watching for any period of time, any length of time, have enjoyed our shows. We've had some amazing entrepreneurs on here. We've started the He Said, She Said that we have the last Tuesday in every month. Like, everything is rolling by. So don't be stingy. There is a QR code here. Scan that and subscribe to House of Peach so you know what's going on. And also share it out. Share our page out. Share the broadcast out so people will know about Hop Series. Believe it or not everybody knows about us. Hello, Facebook user says aloha hop, aloha. And then GH1 Accord says, good evening, ladies. Hello. And then on my page, I see Jackie. Hey, Jackie. Jackie, it's almost time for me to make another order. I love my paparazzi jewelry. So be on the lookout for our events. Be on the lookout, and you got to scan that QR code so you can be subscribed so you'll know what's going on. But this evening, before I say that, if you know of a female entrepreneur that has not been a guest on our show, guess what? We want to have them on. And guess what? We have a fresh new year coming in that we would love to have them on. So send Morgan a message, send me a message, send it on the Hop Facebook page, send it to us in email. However you need to do it, we want to have them on. We don't know every female entrepreneur in the world, and it would be nice to have all of them on, but we won't know anything about them unless you share and say, hey, I think you need to be on this series. I think you need to get out there. I think you need to go on and share your story. We love to have that. You never know who's watching, who gets connected. You may find your next employees on here. You just don't know. You have no clue. But I know I have utilized some of the services and products from the people the ladies that have been on our show. So it's benefited me well, and I'm happy about it. But this evening, so our topic this evening is, it's boundaries, mental health, and the holidays. Boundaries, mental health, and the holidays. And we have a great guest coming on, but I'm going to let Morgan introduce our guest for the show this evening.
Yes. So I had the wonderful pleasure of meeting this lady. I did a little TED talk about just food in general and mental health here in Wilmington, maybe a couple of months back. And I was just absolutely blown away at just who she is as a person, and the fact that she's got this extra amazing talent that she shares as well. And I'll let her share that with us. But our guest is LaShawn Waters. She is a therapist. We're going to be talking about the holidays today. We're going to be talking about boundaries that need to be set, whether that is, with family and or friends, or just in general, and how we can be able to cope, take care of ourselves, get it together. So this is obviously, with the the day that we've been having and everything that's been going on, this is, prime time and great conversation, for today. So
Yes.
welcome.
Ooh, we're gonna get you're gonna get an extra therapy session today, and I'm gonna get my first one for today.
Yes. I tell you, all my tips are hot, so I'm excited for today.
Hello, welcome.
Yes, thanks for having me.
So how are you today? Thank you so much for being on and giving us some of your time on today. We appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm honored. Anytime I get asked to do something, I'm always like, you want me? But I'm gonna stop questioning that and just say, yes, I want to do it. So
absolutely.
Yes, so much.
So why don't you start off with telling us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into all the stuff, because I have some questions. I have some stuff I want to talk about.
Yes, we're going to get into all the things. Okay, so like Morgan said, I am a licensed professional counselor of mental health here in Delaware. I do own a private practice in Newcastle, and that practice's name is Phoenix Healing Services. There is a lot behind that name. I can explain that if you guys like, but I want to expand beyond counseling, and so I call it healing services versus just counseling. But yes, Morgan got to see me in another element as well, because I also am a poet, and every now and then I'll weave some songs into the poetry. I think the day that she saw me, Joe Bellardo had me wearing several hats.
Yes.
So I gave a talk about mental health in hip hop, and how artists have talked about their mental health struggles in their songs. And then he wanted me to sing a song, and then it was a busy day. Okay. So yeah, Morgan got to see a lot of me, but yes, therapy is a passion of mine, is a calling. So is poetry, so is creating and writing. And I'm just going to weave them all together.
That sounds like the perfect combination to truly help people, truly heal, to go take them through the healing process. So go ahead and tell us the history behind the name of your business.
So I connect with the Phoenix, the story of the Phoenix, because that story is about literally rising up out of the ashes. And so the way that my new business came about was, the story before that I will save, but let's just say there were some ashes going on there. I was a co-owner of another facility, and we decided to split. And so through that, I had to rebuild and also gain new clinicians and pretty much start over. And so as I'm trying to spin this name around, I'm like, you know what? This has been a trial, and it just came to me. So yes, the Phoenix, I see each client as a Phoenix, and each clinician, I see them as a person that can help them, rise out of that challenge. So yeah, that's the short story of where it comes from.
Wow. So at what point in time did you know that this is what you wanted to go into? I'm sure throughout your early years you saw signs, but what was going on that led you to this field that you're in?
Yeah, so this is actually my second career. I used to be in human resources, and that kind of bored me, but I was interested in people's stories. And so eventually, you hit those milestone birthdays. I was turning 30 at the time, and I was like, you know what? I just need something different. But I always found that my friends would come to me for advice, and I was always this sounding board for them. And so I said, dang it, you know what? I might want to get paid for this. So I went back to school at 30, 31. And from then, there were just so many signs that this was what I was supposed to do originally. So it keeps evolving, but I always knew I want to help people turn their stories around.
Yeah.
What was that like, doing that career change? Because there's a lot of people that once they hit their 30s or those late 20s, making a mid-course correction like that, You know, a lot of people are like, oh, well, I should be somewhere else, or, you know, life has already happened. And, you know, so we feel like that's an excuse as to why we're not making it as fast as we should, or we don't even make it at all.
Yeah, it was always coming. It was more of a timing thing. So I even knew when I graduated with my undergrad that at some point I was going back. And even my supervisor at the time was like, "You just keep saying you're going back to school." And I'm like, "Well, because I am." Now,
Right.
did it did it take a while? Yeah, sure. But I knew that I was going back. I knew I would be a counselor. I didn't know I would do as well as I did in the program, but it literally soared from then on. So I would say as soon as I made that first step, the rest was very aligned.
Mhm. So it's safe to say that you had multiple confirmations that you were going down the right path.
Damn.
And when you
Yes.
get that, that makes you even more excited because, like, yes, I finally got it. I'm finally in the place. I felt that same way when I was in school. Like, when I went
Mm-hmm.
in my first day in clinical, that's when I knew, oh, yes, this is absolutely it. And here I am 18 years later, still in the field. And it keeps, like you say, you keep evolving, you keep growing, you keep learning and getting involved in new things and finding out new things. So it just makes it even more exciting. Talk about the importance of finding what it is, your niche, your area that just for you, and how you incorporate that when you are talking to your your I don't want to call them patients, but those
Mm-hmm.
that you're helping.
Mm-hmm. See, this is a subject that I love. So, um, one of the ways I'm going to be expanding is in helping people find their purpose.
Mm,
Uh, what came up for me is that this, like when I began to be a counselor, it was fun. Learning theories and techniques was fun. It lit me up. It warmed me up, and so I just kept following that. So if someone else were to say, I don't know what I want to do, I usually ask them, what excites you, but also what frustrates you? Because you
mm,
can find what your passion is through what is ticking you off. If you
mm,
have that much passion about it, either angry or positive, that might be a clue that there's something there for you to maybe problem solve or explore. So,
mm.
yes, lately I am finding that that fire either way is an answer. It's a message.
Huh, that's interesting because I have a thing that annoys me to no end, and it
Hmm.
has annoyed me for years. And it's
Hmm.
something simple. Like I'm a really big critiquer of when people write papers
Come
and
on.
the grammatical stuff, the punctuation, the spelling.
Hmm.
It annoys me when people speak improperly or when they write improperly. It's like, oh my God, are you not reading this? Does this make
Hmm.
sense to you? So
Hmm.
my kids, they grew up
Yeah.
like where I was constantly correcting them if they said something wrong or it didn't, the subject and verb didn't agree or it didn't make sense. And I'm like, really? Is that how we speak? And they change it like, oh my God, mom.
Hmm.
And you can't be that way. You can't talk like that. So that's something that frustrates me that I'm finding that and it's so bad because when I go places that have programs, instead of me reading the program to see who's on the program, I'm looking for all the errors. Like, oh, but I would have
Yes.
done it this way. I would have had this background, or I would have
Hmm.
done that. Oh, this is spelled incorrectly. I'm like, oh
Oh
my God,
yeah.
it's so horrible.
I
So
am also the grammar police, so I am right here with you. I
yeah.
understand. So with that, you could be an editor of other people's work. You see what I mean? So it ticks you off
Mhm,
so much that you are so detail oriented that you would find that, and it's fun for you. So that's
mhm.
kind of what I mean. It's so
Okay.
frustrating for you that it would be a service you give to others to help them so that they are not
Mhm.
out here, with grammatical errors and maybe not having a good resume. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
it's that kind of
absolutely.
thing.
Yeah. Oh, wow. And I had never, and thank you for that because, when people, so with students that would come into my program that wouldn't do well and they end up withdrawing or failing out, I would never just leave them out there. I
Mhm.
would have a meeting with them, say, listen, I don't want to just leave you out here with nothing. Let's find together what would be a better field or better program for you to go into. And
Mhm.
that would always be my question. What excites you? What drives you? What motivates you? But I never thought about what aggravates you, what makes you angry, what frustrates you. And that
Mhm.
is so key to it could be on either end. So thank you. I'm like, bling. I'll be like, oh my God.
Yeah, that light bulb came when I was working with someone and I was noticing how this person was getting frustrated at, like a system breakdown or something like that. And I said, you don't even see that this could be a part of your next step. And
Mhm.
so the light bulb hit for that person. And that's when I incorporated that. It's not just what makes you happy, but like, yeah, what problem are we trying to solve that might help others?
Right, right. Wow. Oh, this has been good. I feel myself turning around because today I was in a very somber mood today,
Mm-hmm.
and not really pinpointing it, not understanding like why am I feeling like this today? I've been good, but now
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling lifted because new information to help me. So,
Oh, sure.
Morgan, are you feeling a little lifted? You should be feeling a little lifted right
I'm totally fine. I mean, that's kind of how I look at most things. You know what I
now.
mean? If something is frustrating me, it's like, how can I turn this into something that's going to make money? Or if something is
Mhm.
lacking, but I think it is good to pinpoint or be aware of those things so that you can be able to turn it into a positive, because if
Right.
you don't, you can let that go into a rabbit hole. You know what I mean? That
Mm-hmm.
very small thing can turn into the lack of allowing someone to even have their autonomy, because now we're just so wrapped up in how they're saying something, or how they're doing something, that we have lost sight of even just what the person is saying in general. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Sure.
So I was like, I feel you wholeheartedly on that.
See, you learn something every day. It's just a little bit of information, but I'm going to look into that because I do enjoy editing things and
Mm-hmm.
critiquing and saying, well, why don't you try this or that or do it this way? These words need to be changed. So, I like that idea. So I want to explore that a little bit more.
Great,
Yeah.
you can edit my blog.
Absolutely. I would love
Exactly.
to. I would love to. Look at there.
Mm-hmm.
We're
There
already
you
working it
go.
out. So tonight we're talking about, amongst other things, we're not limiting ourselves to the topic. So just so you know, whatever
Okay.
else
Yeah, you
comes.
rocking, I'm rolling.
So one thing I will say is your voice is so soothing and it's so calming that
Oh, thank you.
I would just probably come in and just melt on the
Yeah,
floor.
it's like a
So
warm
I
hug
would
right
come in
now. I'll give
all
you that.
anxious and then would leave out like in this perfect utopia. Everything is right with the world. So that is something that will be that's I'm sure a great benefit, and that people feed off of when your
Mm-hmm.
clients, when they come in, because you are calm and you do have that voice that will bring them from here all the way down to a level place. So I just
Thank
wanted to make
you.
note of that. I'm just like, oh, I'm so relaxed now. I'm great.
No, I appreciate that. And yes, I've been told that, and I'll tell you guys a little bit of a joke because I'm professionally goofy. So there have been people who have fallen asleep on the phone with me because my voice was so soothing. They were like, no, 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 I was into the conversation, but then they began to lay down. I'm like, well, what happened? I'm getting offended. But they were saying that it
Oh
was
wow.
because my voice is soothing. So yeah, it's gone, the other way sometimes.
Wow. It's
But
like,
yes,
hello?
uh-huh,
Hello?
like, are
Are you
you,
still there?
yeah, I'm
I could
walking down,
totally
telling
see that.
stories.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could
No,
see
no, no,
that.
no. I was engaged. It's just that I also was tired and you just, but,
Lulled me right on to sleep.
yeah,
I
I do
need
want to
the
look into that
afternoon
voice.
session with you. You definitely can't catch me in the morning or towards the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be the
It's
first one. Hold on.
over.
Exactly. Hold on. Let me get in the bed real quick while we
Right.
finish this.
No,
Let me
I
wrap
see
up.
you. And in my office, there's aromatherapy and low lighting. So it kind of is
Oh yeah.
giving nap and and counseling. But No, thank you for that. I am going to look into doing some meditations, voiceovers, like that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, that would be
Absolutely.
amazing. I'm subscribing. I want my own.
Okay, okay. My first subscribe.
All right, so let's go. I don't know what order we want to go in, but I really want to talk about boundaries first
Sure.
because that's a really big thing in personal lives, in business, all of that. And so many people still are having issues, and a lot of people don't like the word boundaries. They want to give it all other words to mean the same thing. But I want it to
Mhm.
be a boundary because I want there to be a stopping point before whatever it is gets out of hand and I come out of myself or I lose myself. Last week, Morgan and
Mhm.
I talked about losing yourself in business or in relationships. So I don't want that to happen. So what do you want to talk about or go into with boundaries?
Look, how much time do we have?
We just talk, baby. We got it. Talk.
So no, I love. I was telling Morgan, I love the talk about boundaries, and I recently became familiar with this author who wrote "Set Boundaries and Find Peace." It is
Mm,
a Black psychologist, and I've been listening to that book, and I listen to that book and then give those gems to the clients. But I think what she says is that the biggest misconception about boundaries is that it's to kick people out, but
mm,
actually it's to actually have people in your life, but in a way that feels healthy for both you and that person. So it's more like an adjustment, more like a dotted line than like a solid line.
mhm,
So she also says, and I found this, and I don't know, we can talk about examples, but in our community, there tends to be more entitlement to all of us. And what do you mean you can't give me this? What do you mean you can't do this for me? And I think we tend to say yes because of that collectivistic culture where we're all we have.
mm,
So I think that's where the lines get blurry. Now, if we use the example of holidays, it might be what we talk about. So if you
mm,
have a boundary around your relationship status, or are you getting ready to have a baby, or when all those in your business type of subjects that you might not want to talk about over your turkey, um, then you might want to have a discussion about that. And so she also speaks on ways to discuss that where it's still gentle, but it's also firm.
mm.
Um, how about we do this? Do you guys have examples of a certain kind of boundary that might be hard? And then we can use that.
Morgan, I'm gonna let you
We can use work or family. I don't know who's watching, but I'm not trying to offend.
hey, at this point in time, I'm in it is what it is. You know, if
Mm,
you're gonna be offended if I say it, you're gonna be offended if I don't say it. I'm in this I really don't care mode because I for so long I was very watchful and wouldn't say things and I'm not going to say that. I don't know who's going to get upset by that. And it's like, you know what? If this is my truth, this is my truth. If this is how I
yeah.
feel, this is how I feel. If you get mad, you're just going to have to be mad. You'll eventually get over it. And if you don't, then it is what it is. So,
Hmm.
I'm all for me having peace. So I probably need to get that book
Oh, it's
and
it's
listen
an
to that.
amazing book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Morgan, are you talking because we don't hear anything?
Oops,
no, she was
sorry.
speaking.
Yeah, I was like, I apologize. I actually pushed the mute. It was probably when I went to go clear my throat. So let's see. I'm like, there's like so many that come that come to mind.
Hmm.
But I was like, when we're talking about the holidays anyway.
Hmm.
A lot of the time it has, we have stuff with parents, you know what I mean? We have solid just knows anymore. We might end up having a family member that, uses a tone with us that we
Mm.
don't particularly like, or I
Mhm.
remember coming home from the holidays while I was in college, and I would have like a couple of family members that would laugh and joke about my weight. And and it'd be like, so I'm like just coming up with
Mhm.
stuff, but I was like, that's something
Mhm.
that I know I didn't necessarily know how to handle at that time. And you're right, when you're in that position and you don't know how to handle that, boundaries do seem more like something where it is to keep someone out. But in
Mhm.
actuality, it's to protect you and for you to
Mhm.
be able to teach someone else how to be able to treat you in a situation like that. You know what I mean? I feel like there are ways for us to comfortably have conversations amongst ourselves where, you know
Mhm.
what I mean, we can say something about each other's weight, but not to the extent of making someone feel bad about themselves, making them feel insecure, whatever the case may
Mhm.
be. So I was like, those are two at least examples that I know, tend to come up at times.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Yeah, that can I actually thought about that one earlier today, that can be a big thing, especially in our community, because we think that so many things are, folly or a joke, and the recipient is not thinking it's funny at all, but the giver of that message is going to maybe even dismiss your concern and be like, "Oh, girl, I was just joking."
Mm.
Meanwhile, you're still like, "But I am still hurt and offended by that." So in a situation like that, I would say, addressing it in the moment and letting that person know, it hurts me when you comment about my weight. Therefore, I would appreciate if that is not a subject that we get into.
Mhm.
Now, here's the other part. There's times where someone, because they are offended of that by that, or they may say just what I said, like, "Oh, girl, stop being so sensitive." That's when you have to double down in a gentle way, hopefully, and say, "I still feel this way. So though you don't see it as a big deal, I do. So I'm asking you to respect that. Can you do that?" So it's just really, it's owning the feeling that you have without like arguing and going back and forth.
Mhm. Is there a such you said about being sensitive? Is there a thing of being too sensitive, or because I'm that way. Well, I am that way, and I was even worse before I became a little bit more confident in me and did some work on myself.
Mm-hmm.
I was easily hurt by things, and I still deal with that some, where I don't think people mean something by it, but
Mm-hmm.
the way that I perceived it and how it made me feel. And so my inclination and my reaction to that is to retreat and to
Hmm.
just seclude as opposed to doing that. So is there a thing of really being too sensitive, or is it just my makeup and how I am? And could it be from, what I dealt with in my past that still
Mm-hmm.
hasn't been resolved? Or but is that really something that you hear people say that, "Oh, stop being so sensitive." Is that valid?
So, in the therapy world, we don't place judgment on someone's feelings, even if I can see that the emotion someone is feeling might be more elevated than a typical time. We would still say, okay, well, that hit a nerve for some reason. So, what does that mean to you? So that's like me, the therapist. But I would say there are definitely reasons that someone is, I guess, more almost like raw to the touch, and that can be because they had a critical parent growing up. Maybe they were bullied. Maybe they are not assertive. There's all kinds of reasons that someone might be quickly offended. It
Mhm.
could be a history of being, I guess, addressed in a verbally aggressive way. So now these days, when they can speak up for themselves, they are just, calling things out left and right. So
Mhm.
it really depends on the person.
Okay.
I wouldn't say too sensitive. I would, me, the therapist mind would say, I wonder what is going on with this
Mhm.
person that this comment did this and what is that
Right.
about?
Yeah, they typically say like if you're hysterical, it's historical. So
Ooh.
you got to go back a little bit further to see why you were getting such a rise out
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
of sometimes even the smallest of things.
Oh,
Mhm.
Um,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like I know I used to get like crazy about like dishes in the sink,
Mhm.
and it actually stemmed back from my childhood and how I felt about dishes as a teenager.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
So here I am, holding my husband accountable for how I felt as a child.
Mm-hmm.
And the situation was not the same. The expectation was not the same. Why he was doing what he was doing was not the same as what was going on. So here I am treating that situation like it was, and he's over here like, what? Like, is it, like, what did I do? And then
Yeah.
that's when you start to also feel like the crazy person, because now you're like, well, now am I overly sensitive? Am I overreacting? Am I doing too much? And in
Mm.
actuality, no, this is just something that you kind of need to deal with and need to realize this is more of a personal problem rather
Mhm.
than, the other person as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you get into a relationship with someone, they are the most noticeable mirror for all of your stuff. If you have not dealt with something, just being around someone and seeing how maybe someone else grew up or perceives things or communicates, you will see what cracks are or could be still there.
Mm.
So, dishes to you, highly important. Dishes to him, he's like, what are you talking about? Different
Mhm.
communication styles coming in and trying to merge into one language within your household. That's not easy work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
We can have a whole other discussion about division of household chores in a married couple.
Yeah, we'll have you back in
We'll push that.
2024 with that.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
please
Yeah,
do.
we're gonna need
We
that
could be
one.
the mediator
Yes,
for a
I
he
would
said,
like.
she said. Like,
Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. We're gonna need you on and some couples, and we're gonna have a all out.
Anytime. We need
Let's
a
get this
forum,
together.
okay?
We
yes,
need-
exactly. Everybody bring the wine because they're gonna need to chill.
yeah, it's
And let's
going to
talk
be.
about some things. Oh
I
wow, yeah.
like that.
Yes.
That's
I like
February
that
session
idea.
on the books. We'll chat.
Sign me up. I'm here for this. Yes.
So, with the holidays coming around and families, some families are doing great and they're together, and you have families that are split, and namely my family. And
Mhm.
I'm not going to try to go around the bush. I'm direct. I'm going to say my family is not where I would like us to be. We
Mhm.
all are probably going to be in separate places, and my plan is to go home where I was raised,
Mhm.
and but the situation is not going to be as it has been in years past. So my concern, and I believe I'm strong enough to go and to handle it and make my own decision on how I want to do this, because I don't have
Right.
to give in and succumb to what everybody else thinks that I should do,
Mhm.
and then not feel guilty about it. I know this is what for my peace and sanity and for things to not get crazy, this is how I need to do it. I'm coming, but I'm
Mhm.
coming on my own terms.
Yes.
How do you navigate that if you have family members with very strong personalities, because we all do in
Mhm.
my particular family, but I want to make sure that I don't remember this holiday or this season as the worst ever. I still want it to be pleasant. So how do we go through that? How do families go through that and deal with that?
Yes, the holidays are so triggering for so many reasons, and you hit on, I want to say, like three of them right there. Um, I think there's so many expectations that really mess things up, and so we are all in this play where we're looking at what is supposed to be versus what we need it to be, or how we adjust it so that we have peace, sanity, so that this holiday cheer actually feels cheerful. um, and so I would say to really manage expectations and to understand that there's an ideal that is put out there, but then looking at the reality of things and trying to work within that. But then with your family members, that is where that boundaries conversation comes up again, because, you know, perhaps you're getting pressure from them and they're saying, well, we want to do this and this, and don't you want to stay at so and so's house? No, I do not. I want to get a hotel and kind of come and go as I please.
Mhm.
So it is in finding something that you can say around that that still honors what the family is trying to do, but where you stand strong and say, for myself, here's how I'm going to do it.
Mhm.
They'll adjust. Maybe not year one, especially if this is a new thing that you're trying. But though I wrote this on my Facebook page a few weeks ago, the people who are offended by your boundaries, that's your answer.
Mm.
So
Wow.
it's not to be harsh, but it is to say that we have these expectations and many people do, but we have to break out of that because some traditions are forced and they're not even fun anymore.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, how do you deal with the disappointment? Because we know that not everyone knows how to respect those boundaries that we set.
Mhm.
So, how do you deal with the disappointment of the lack of respect? How do you deal with the sometimes either if it's a feel of rejection
Mm-hmm.
or just the severance of the relationship
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, which comes with that lack of respecting of boundaries. How do you deal with that at that time? Because a lot of us still long for that connection, especially that familial connection.
Mm-hmm.
So to not have that due to that and wanting to stand firm on your boundaries, how exactly do you handle that within self?
Mm.
Yeah, you just hit all the heartstrings right here. So
Mhm.
there is a grief that is not discussed a lot about. There's a grief that comes with setting boundaries and drawing those lines that I don't know we talk enough about. And so you can know that you're making the right decision and still be grieving the fact that the other person chose not to adjust with you, and therefore now it's different. So it is, I think number one would be honoring your feelings about that, knowing that what you said might create some kind of discord, but keeping it the same also was going to kind of eat you alive, and that also was not okay. So it really is. I mean, that's where I would recommend, talking with someone and talking about the courageous decision you had to make, which led to this grief, even though you know it was the right decision. That intersection right there is not easy.
Mm.
Yeah.
Your post.
That's kind of like where I am right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mhm.
like I get it. It's a funky crossroad, especially when you're learning how to set healthy boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
When you haven't necessarily, been taught that or even seen that growing up. You know what I mean? I think a lot of us women, we see a lot of not honoring our boundaries or
Yeah.
not doing healthy setting of boundaries, especially when it comes to whether it's familial relationships or even romantic relationships,
Mm-hmm.
in that we allow a lot of things where we wouldn't normally, or we haven't given ourselves the space to really get to know ourselves
Yes.
enough to feel like we can protect and or speak up for ourselves, or just say, hey, no, listen, I don't like that. We kind of just go along with it. Or we've got our parents or grandparents philosophy
Mm-hmm.
of sweep it underneath the rug,
Mhm.
or let's not talk about it. But it's unfortunate because it is that these times
Yes.
that these come up, and if it's not the boundaries and people a lack of respecting them,
Mm-hmm.
then it's also trying to deal with the loss of people.
Yes.
and what that brings with it. So it's like you're either losing people by choice because that's what's going to bring you peace, or it was an involuntary thing, an actual physical loss, where now you're longing for that relationship that you literally can't even reconnect due to death. So can we speak on that? Because I know that for Thanksgiving, I was like, that's a lot, but even Christmas, it's a lot bigger. And unfortunately, I have a lot of friends right now that have lost parents in the last like 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's really tough because these marked times around those holidays, if you celebrate them, can just exacerbate those feelings, especially because you celebrated those traditions with the people that you are now missing. So I would say, especially in that first year, I like to have my clients weave that person in any kind of way. Was there a favorite dish that they liked? Is there a favorite song? Like, they're not here in the physical realm, but how can you include them as you are also accepting that you can't access them the same way? So it's like this person is not erased from your memory at all. And depending on what you believe in, they could still be accessible, but I won't go there right now. But what I'm saying is, yeah, it's tough. But yes, I would say including that person, sharing memories about that person, like not acting like this person left and is just not a part of your lives, but like talk about them. You don't want that to just be an elephant in the room where it's hush hush and we're not speaking about this person anymore. So, as far as losing someone to death, I would say those tips. As far as losing someone that's still living, I would say, I hope that that person you set a boundary with would, if they don't adjust immediately, they adjust eventually so that something can be rekindled. Um, but if you lose certain people along the way and you are standing strong in that decision, maybe that's what needed to happen. And that's not tough to it's not easy to swallow, but it might be the case for this season that you're in your life right now. Like maybe they can't come with you to the next chapter.
Wow, that says a lot. That ties into what you put on your Facebook post about if people can't accept your boundaries and you have your answer. Because I did that about a little over a year ago, and it didn't turn out like I don't know how I thought it was going to turn out, but I didn't think it was going to be like this. So there's an answer, and for it to be that way, it wasn't what I wanted, but to hear you say maybe for this season of your life, it needs to be that way. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to grow or get to the next level or get to discover you more and what you want. So I was wondering, should I feel bad about it? Should I be, upset about it? Because I'm really not. Because after I addressed it and set the boundary, I felt this. First, it was fear, and then it was relief.
Well,
like it's broken.
Yeah.
What I had been dealing with was broken off me. So now it doesn't have the same hold on me that it did. So maybe this was a good thing. Not that I would have wanted it to be this way at all, because nobody wants, families to be
Discourse,
split.
right.
But
Exactly. Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. It was that was going to be my next question, in the sense of, and I was like, I know this is a daily journey for me, but how do you not take that personally?
Are you asking
Because
me?
that's what you do. No. I would, the question is just in general. Like, once you set that boundary, once you had that conversation about a year ago, and it didn't turn out the way that you wanted it to, the response was not favorable or didn't come off as if the person was respecting what you had set. How do you not take that personally?
Right.
How do you not think that there's something wrong with you? Or did I do something? Was I the one that was in the wrong? You know what I mean? Where do you place your personal feelings when setting boundaries, so that that is a confident place where you stay versus feeling like
Yeah,
you were just
that's
like you
good.
were just explaining.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is like a higher level way of thinking. It does not come overnight. I might have just learned this in the last few years, but you know how I have on glasses and Morgan has on glasses, and you have on, like, you don't have on any glasses, but you can still see through your eyes. This is
Mhm.
the way we're all looking at life right now. So we're all looking at
Mm.
each other, but your prescription is different, so is mine. And so it's understanding that we are all looking at a situation different because of what we're bringing into our experience. So I know that's like kind of heady, but I would say it's a way to work through those feelings, just understanding that we are all looking at this differently.
Mhm.
But when you're feeling like it is personal, that's something to sort out.
Mhm.
So it's not to ignore it or to be like, I should look at this in this higher level way. No, honor it. You still have to
Yeah.
work through that and still grieve it and still feel your feelings about it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
One thing that I was glad I didn't get into was thinking, well, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I had it
Mm,
wrong. Maybe it was me, but it wasn't. It was not,
mhm,
because I went through the process of thinking, okay, let me replay everything that I had a discussion about. Let's see. Okay, let me, because I'm really good on praying. And like when I left my husband, I when I got ready, when I left, I prayed. I'm like, God, if I had anything to do with this marriage going in the direction that it went to where now it's
mhm,
about to end,
mhm.
show me, not him, me. Because if there was something that I did wrong, then I'm going to go back and make it right. And we're going to work through this.
Yes.
But what I kept seeing and what God kept showing me, because I prayed the same prayer twice, and what
Hmm.
I kept seeing and what he kept showing me was him and stuff that he was doing, stuff that he was
Hmm.
doing. And I'm like, okay, well, clearly this was not on me, because
Yeah.
I was doing, now I'm not saying I was perfect, because I was not, but
Right.
I was doing what I knew to do at the time to try to make it work. And
Hmm.
he just had it in his mind. He was just going to do what he wanted to do. Okay, well then let me free you so you can do what you want to do. So
Yes. Come
I'm
on.
think, but and I did that even with the family member. I did that, like, okay, well, did I really, did this really happen? Did
Hmm.
all of this? And then I'm like, you know what? I'm not making stuff up.
Hmm.
I'm not just pulling stuff out the air. Like, I'm
Hmm.
not trying to treat anybody poorly or make it this way. So for me, all right, I've said what I needed to say. I've done what I needed to do. Now it's time for me to move forward, because if I constantly stay here, I'm not going to get where I want to get to. So I
Yeah.
had to do that.
No, I mean, I find with women more than men, we will have a flow chart of, okay, so they did this, so I did this. All right, so let me see. And it's like we're really trying to dissect where we may have gone wrong, even though the feeling that you got when you set your boundary was, you said first fear, then relief. That relief isn't wrong. Neither was the fear, but you felt both, maybe afraid to say what you had to say, but then relief that something got lifted off of you. So that's
Mhm.
also an answer. But yeah, I do find that we as women will internalize something almost to maybe land the answer on ourselves, even if that's dead wrong.
Wow.
But it's like it's settling to have an answer to certain things. And so we'll turn it right back around if we're not careful.
Mm.
So I've seen that, I've done that, I've seen that a lot. But it's
Mhm.
good that you also prayed on it and asked for that confirmation, because that is a part of your practice to make sure that you were really grounded in your decision
Yeah.
making.
Right.
Mhm.
Oh, our mental
Can
health is
we
important.
can we talk a little bit about um family time, holidays, and children
Hmm.
Mm.
when it comes to respecting boundaries? I know that there are um, a lot of videos that are out. I know I definitely am that parent that does not make, my children hug and or show any kind of affection
Hmm.
if they're not feeling it. You know what I mean? You can think that that's rude if you want to, but I'm not going to make my child have to have any kind of physical contact
Yeah.
with someone if they're not feeling it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he can most definitely acknowledge your existence. You know, at the same time, if my child is choosing not to acknowledge your existence at all, that to me as a
Mhm.
parent should be telling me something too, especially if you know that you have a pretty social child. So, you know, can you talk about just, you know, knowing your child, how to navigate, you know, family, their feelings, respecting your children, but then also understanding that, you know, we're dealing with different generations and not necessarily understanding what we're trying to do these days with, you know, our kids.
Yeah, absolutely. And kudos to you for setting that boundary for your child so that he has agency over his body and you're in tune with him, it sounds like, so that you can see if there's something a little bit off, if he doesn't want to be in any kind of interaction with, said person. Um, I would say really establishing like a ground rule where you say, I know this is how it used to go, but for my kid, I've given him the choice of saying it can be a hello, a fist pound, a hug. I'm going to leave it up to him. So can you please, respect that I'm teaching him now that everyone does not have access to his body. Can y'all respect that? And so, you see what they say there also. It's not easy, but I'm hearing that you're wanting him to understand it's not entitled amongst every family member to interact the same way, especially if it's not the same relationship.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow. And kids know they pick up
Kids are
on
so
people
smart.
and their spirits, and they
Mhm.
can tell when, oh no, not going to make any contact with you. So
Yeah.
forcing them to do that, yeah, I can
Yeah.
see how damaging that can be.
It was
Right.
crazy. I had seen a video one time where this lady was you know, using the analogy of, you know, how we teach stranger danger. You don't just talk to anyone. But
Mm-hmm.
yet, if you're in the grocery store and someone walks up to you and they just start talking to you, and then they turn around and they speak to your child, and then you go, well, Johnny, say hi to this lady. Well, that lady's a flipping stranger. So now you've
Right.
gone completely against what you just said about not talking to people that you don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's conflicting. I can
You
hear
know what I
both.
mean? I was like, so
Mhm.
it ends up being the same thing. You know what I mean? So here you are, and you're at grandma's house, and for whatever reason, your child is not feeling grandma right now, and whatever energy she's giving off, and you
Mhm.
over here like, hey, give grandma a hug. You don't know what happened last time you left grandma, you know, your child
Right.
at grandma's. Grandma might have spoken to them in a way that they didn't necessarily care for. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Grandma might have had someone over that she probably shouldn't have. You know what I mean? And depending on the age and the vocabulary and conversation that you can have with your child, you never know. So, you know what I
Absolutely.
mean? To push those things and to, you know, be in tune to these holidays, that's just something that I think I'm just a little sensitive about when
Sure.
it comes to children because, you know, at this time, they kind of get lost in the sauce. We get
Mhm.
so much into, you know, family and, you know, what we're preparing in the kitchen and entertaining other people in the living room that the kids,
Mhm.
they kind of just go off to themselves or they're
Yeah.
around other people. And so the protection that we would normally give or attention that we would normally give isn't necessarily there either.
Mhm.
And I know we've got, you know, an influx of a lot of new parents, a lot of parents trying to, you know, do things differently, so that we don't repeat some of the same things. And so, you know, I appreciate the tools that, you know, you were sharing this evening because they're absolutely necessary
Yeah.
in the
Sure.
meantime.
Yeah, I think it's the generational part that is the most hard because even with therapy itself, I do have a wide age range, but everyone tends to be in more like their 20s, 30s, 40s. I have some that are on either side of that spectrum, but as far as you trying to enforce these different things within the family, you're talking about a multi generational experience where they've just lived life differently. So even rules around not being able to just eat everything in sight, like someone might be offended of that. Or what if you have dietary restrictions and you say, no, my child does not eat fast food, whatever it may be. That's tough.
Mm,
So yeah, it's a generational piece. I mean, the best that you can do is just say, I understand this is how we used to do it, no disrespect. It's just that here's what I want for my child, and can you hear that out?
hmm. That's so important. Families, I feel like families, we are not the worst, but we fail at understanding and respecting that
Yes.
because this is what we've done for generations and eons. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, no, but every generation is different. Every
Mm-hmm.
household is different. Like I didn't raise my children the same way that I was raised. I didn't do things every way that they did. And even at family functions, like my eyes were on my kids at all times.
Uh-huh.
Like, you stay where I can see you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if it's a group of cousins and you guys are going outside to play. I'm sitting in the house like, oh my God, no, I'm
Yeah.
going outside. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sitting with you. I'm going outside because I have to keep my eyes on my kids.
Yep.
So, everybody is different. I had a family member contact me a little while ago, and they are looking to take a different journey in their life spiritually,
Mm-hmm.
totally opposite of what the family has done.
Mm-hmm.
And they're concerned about that. And I told that family member, I said, listen, you are an adult with your own mind and
Yeah.
your own thoughts. You do what you feel resonates with you. Go with what you feel. Because at the end of the day, everyone that may have something to say, they'll be gone.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
if when they're gone and you have done what they wanted to do when they're gone, you're lost because you've done it their way. So set that no, this is what I feel that I need to do for me. And if you can't accept it, let's just agree to disagree. This is your
Yeah.
opinion, which you are welcome to. And this is
Mm-hmm.
what I have to do, which I feel good about. And that I know for years I would always go with what other people thought I should do.
Oh
If they
yeah.
felt a certain way and it really wasn't what I wanted to do, I would do it anyway because they said it and they felt that way. And I would be sick to my stomach doing it because it wasn't what I wanted to. So now it's what I want to do and I'm happy about it. And if I don't want
Mm-hmm.
to do it, I'm not doing it. And
exactly.
respect that no. If I give
Yes.
you a no, no, I am not doing that. Don't try to force me because then it's not going to go well. I'm not going to get out of character or anything. Then I
Mm-hmm.
need to back up and separate myself from you if you're not going to respect that because where I am, this is what I need. This is the best for me and my mental health.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Right.
don't end up in an orange jumpsuit going
Absolutely. And
no.
most people have their own moral compass. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Whether it's right or wrong, most people have their own. But at the end of the day, as we like to say, it's only you who's going to be standing at the pearly gates.
Yeah.
What you chose to do,
Mhm.
I'm not going to be asked about. I'm not
Yeah.
going to be held responsible for.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, it shouldn't matter what I think about your walk for the simple fact that I'm not going to be held responsible for it. Like, Jay-Z has that saying, what I eat don't make you, you know
Oh.
what I mean? Like that's exactly what that is. So, being able to once again not take someone else's decisions personally,
Mm-hmm.
or I that's something that I know I've dealt with big time. It's making a decision and then someone making my decision about them or
Mm.
taking
Yeah.
offense to what I've decided. And, or then been like, you weren't thinking about me. You're absolutely right. I wasn't thinking about you. I
Right.
was thinking
Right.
about
Did not
me
include
when
you.
I made this
Mm-hmm.
personal decision. You know
Right.
what I
You
mean?
were not in the equation nor being considered. Okay.
Exactly. And guess what?
Yeah.
I did that on purpose because it wasn't about you. This wasn't an us kind of situation
Yeah.
for me to consider. This was a me. And how do I want to handle this? What do I think about this? And then you've got
Mm-hmm.
to be able to stand steadfast on that regardless of what someone else thinks. So I love that. Analogy that you gave when it comes to like prescription, because you're right. We are looking at different things through certain lenses, but you also have to be able to have that that thing on the inside that can allow you to be able to discern certain things. You know, like right now, I can look at both of you and there are things that I can see on you that you can't see for yourself, excluding the fact that we're looking at a camera. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I can see things on the top of your head that you can't physically see because your eyes can't literally go up that way.
Yeah.
So if I am for you, if I'm in your circle, if I'm supposed to be someone speaking into you, if I'm like, girl, you got a huge lint ball on the top of your head, you should be able to trust that what I'm telling you is about you and it's for you. But then at the same time, you can be able to address that, but that doesn't change what, you know, you think about yourself, or even the fact that you think that I think that there's anything wrong with you, or that you're any, you know, more or less inferior than just the person that you are. You know what I mean? So being able to hear what other people have to say, and in the words of my therapist, deciding whether or not this is something that you're going to allow to bounce off of you, or are you going to take in? That's where your boundaries lie. Your boundary is, this is something, no, it's like a windshield. I'm just going to wipe that off and let it keep going. If it's something that honestly is something that you can consider, then yeah, go ahead, let that in, and then figure out what you're going to do with that piece of information. But you have to have that discerning spirit, because, and I think that that's sometimes where we lose it too when it comes to family, because of those familial ties. We're more bound to listen. We're more bound to try to please. We're more bound to try to placate, to try to keep peace, to try to keep respect, whatever the case may be, just even someone else's feelings, instead of just steadfast in, you know, what we're trying to, you know, achieve.
Yeah, I mean, as a former people pleaser, that was an aspect that I had to learn. And also having to learn that making my own decisions, whether the other person liked it or not, if it changed their love for me, then we have a whole other discussion to have about conditions on their love. Whether that's family, friends, you know, romantic partners. So just shifting that lens where you are actually putting you first, and then saying, okay, can I do this for this person, but not reversing it where your needs are on the shelf and they love what you're providing for them. But what if you stopped? Will you still be reached out to and cared for, or was this transactional?
Transactional. Yep, that's it.
Yeah. Wow. Well, for those of you that are just joining us, just tuning in, welcome to the HOP series. We are here talking about boundaries, mental health, and the holidays, and we are having an amazing conversation. If you have not subscribed to our page, there is a QR code up in the screen. We need you to scan that and subscribe so you will get the notifications when we are on. So you can also reach out if you are an entrepreneur and you have not been on our show. We would love to have you on. We want to have a conversation, like, you know, just girlfriends just sitting around and having a glass of wine and having a conversation, because believe it or not, this conversation today is helping me. What it's giving me is confirmation on who I am and what I've been feeling and the decisions that I've made for myself. And that I've been waiting for years to get to this point. And you were talking about the people pleasing, and Dr. Veronica Johnson, she teaches a no sabotage class where she goes over the 9 different saboteurs. Really, there's 10 if you count the judge, and she teaches it to where we can connect where the root is and why we are the way that we are. And being a pleaser was one of my top ones in the beginning. So I took the class the first time in September of last year to find out that pleaser was like at the one of the top ones I had, but it was trying to make everyone else happy. And I wasn't myself because I want to be good with everybody. Right now, I'm in the ruffling feathers mood. I don't care if I ruffle a little feathers.
There you go.
This is what I want to be, who I'm supposed to be. I want to be who makes me happy. And at where I am now, I'm happy and I have my goals in view, and that's where I'm going. And I'm sorry, I know I can't take everybody with me, and family included. And so there has to be, okay, no, I'm not coming to this function. No, I'm not going over there. No, you cannot. I'm not going to do this for you because I got stuff that I need to work on for myself. No, I'm not going to bow down and call you because you're mad at me for something that I didn't even do. No, I'm not doing that. I'm going to enjoy my life, live my life, and move forward. And I haven't skipped a beat. Now, has it been perfect? No. I've had my trials. I've had things that I've had to deal with, but I choose to look at them with different lenses, with the different prescription than before. So y'all, nothing is wrong with boundaries. Yes, your mental health depends on it. And in this holiday season, we have to, because I don't want to see people fighting and families being even further destroyed because, folks are not doing that. They're not setting those here. This is as far as I'm going. I'm not going any further.
Yeah.
No, that's exactly right. I know I just met you, but I am proud of you for,
Thank you.
I can see that you're almost shouting from the rooftops. No. And so, when we are fresh with some of our boundaries, that's kind of how we want to do it. We want to be like Sam Jackson and be like, look here, mother, but sometimes that's one approach. But the other approach could be that we just gently say, you know what, that doesn't align with who I am anymore. You might have me frozen back here, but here's who I am. So I had to shed some things.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that? Would you like to learn more about who I am today? Or are you going to have me stuck? If you have me stuck, I got to see you later. I still love you. I will love you from afar, but it sounds like you can't really take this ride with me. So I guess this is where we get off.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And people can apologize for their responses to things, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to let them back into, your space. There have been people that have done things that, those things take up space where you kind of can't come back from that. And because I've decided that that treatment isn't something that I am going to accept, nor am I going to give, space for you to do that again. Although I accept your apology, but that doesn't mean that you've now regained access to me. And I was like, can you talk about that for a second? Like that,
that's good.
That access bit.
That's good.
Yes. So I was saying some weeks ago, this is so timely, by the way. Thank you for this opportunity to speak on this further. But Audacity is at an all-time high. I don't know if you've noticed. And with that, the price does go up on the access. And so the way I've been explaining it is, back in the day, if you used to go to a lounge or a club, they had, we have general admission. We have, ladies get in free before 11. We have VIP. There's different levels. And so the way that I can explain this, if you still want someone in your life, is maybe they've downgraded themselves to an associate or acquaintance based on what they have, done to you, or, whatever happened between you two. Or maybe they can't get in the club at all. They just are banned, but your decision on that is based on what you value and where you are going. But the way I've helped people understand that is in these relationships versus situationships. So there are people that want VIP access, but they are giving you general admission type energy.
Wow.
That's not going to work. So why do they have a wristband if they haven't given you commitment? Look, don't get me started, okay? I almost went. Yes.
You all come, bring it back. Bring it back.
You will be back. Like, okay, y'all.
Oh, absolutely.
Put her on the calendar. Okay, we know she'll be back in February. I would just put that there now.
Oh yeah, got to go ahead and get your calendar together. Okay.
I almost went overseas just now. Okay.
Yes. Actually, she was just overseas as well.
Oh.
Yes.
I was like, look, tell them a little bit about that real quick.
Oh my goodness. So a group of women, shout out to Tamara Barnes. She had 12 of us come to Bali with her. And it was equal parts of work and play. And we did both to the top, you know. It was so well put together. But yes, it was a women's business retreat. And a few of us were actually speakers as well as, you know, participants. So yeah, we were there actually during the time of like Father's Day and Juneteenth. We joined this group called Blacks in Bali, and there's a whole community over there that they either live there or just visiting. But we found all of the things, including this amazing Juneteenth celebration while in Indonesia. So it was just, it was literally half a world away. It was a 12-hour time difference, but it was life-changing.
Wow.
It was spiritual. I know that all of us came back changed and energized and fired up and just like, you know, ready to go. So it's hard to put into words, but I know it was timely, and even the amount of people it was supposed to be and what it turned into, I think that had some spiritual aspects as well. So yeah, it was empowering. We talked about imposter syndrome, and I did a workshop on work-life balance and boundaries. I referenced that same book I was talking about. One of my other friends talked about like manifestation and all of that. I mean, it was great. And then we saw some attractions and went to the temples, which is again spiritual, the gates of heaven, pictures that I will love from now until, you know, when I'm 100, looking back like, oh, look at you. But yeah, it was great.
Wow.
Absolutely. Well, I definitely see more of those in your future.
Yes.
And yeah, I was super excited to see that you were able to be a part of that. And I was just over here like, yay, this is so exciting.
It was so fun. Yes.
I know. I love to see us succeeding and doing, you know, different things, especially travel.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Oh yeah.
Living, not
Yes, exactly.
I lived that week, okay?
Don't waste the trip saying, oh no, live it up. Do what you need to do. Make those memories.
Absolutely. Joe Nicole said, ooh, the wristband. Yeah, I'm right there with you still, Joe Shira. And GH said that the Set Boundaries audiobook is actually on sale right now for $8.75.
Yeah, and I'm going to get it tonight.
I love a good audiobook. I think that that's great, especially for us who are constantly moving and don't necessarily have the time to sit still with a physical book. That still allows us to be able to get information, gain things, you know, continue to grow from a literary standpoint to do that. So thank you.
Yeah, I think that's something I need to delve into, because I like to have a physical book because I highlight and I write notes in there. But I find that my life is so busy that I'm going from, you know, before the sun comes up, I'm up, and then it's well into the night before I go to sleep. And there's just no time in between to sit down and say, okay, I'm going to take this 30 minutes and read. But as I'm moving, I can listen. So I was thinking, oh, reading is not the same, but I need to do that because
I was going to say, I absolutely love books, like physical books. But I started audiobooks about 13 years ago after I went back to work with my first son, and I was working the night shift in the hospital. And there were going to be some times where I had tons of time to read, and there were other times where I didn't because it was super busy. So I would still get the book from the library, but then also have the audio. So I would listen to the audio on the way to work, listen to the audio while, I was working. If there was a minute that I didn't, then I would actually pick up the book because I love to turn a page and then still be able to do that. So when I had a moment to sit down, I would just pick up where the audio left off, and I just try to, pay attention to where that was and then delve back into it. So, that could possibly be a way for you to fit in both.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I do because I want more information because I'm learning stuff every day, and it's like, really, I didn't know that. Let me get a book and read about it. Let me figure this out. So yeah, I think that's going to be my
and for those who are actually on a budget, like I said, I'm sorry, I love books, but I was like, Libby, it's an app that is directly linked to most of the libraries in the country. So you can go there, and so instead of paying for like an Audible subscription, you can actually go to Libby, download your library card, and then you have access to all of the audiobooks that are in your library's reference to you for free. Yeah.
Libby?
Libby.
I'm writing this down.
I want to say it's double BY.
Okay.
Yep. I was like, I'll shoot you a text with what it looks like. Yeah.
Yes, because I've been with Audible for
me
years.
too.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
Mhm.
Well, look at the time.
I know.
So
Time flies when you're having fun.
100% that you will be back on our show.
Yes,
And Morgan has already said February. So plan for February.
Sure.
We're going to have an amazing topic. We're going to delve into we're going to bring it back for He Said, She Said.
Yeah, wait. So at least twice. He said, she said, so she can be a mediator. We got to talk about those gender roles and things. But I definitely heard that that transactional love, that needs to be a whole thing.
Okay.
Yes.
Whether
yeah,
I was like, whether that's like, relationships or even when it comes to parents, because I know a lot of us, like you were even saying, I'm sure the age ranges that you're dealing with, a lot of us are unlearning a lot of the childhood trauma, a lot of the things that our parents have taught us. So even in that space, being able to, get a grip on some things, I think would be beneficial for us all.
Yes. Whenever you both need, I am there. Count me in.
Oh,
Thank you.
we have definitely enjoyed having you on this evening. So wow, what gems of information that you have given us. I'm going to be selfish. What you've given me tonight has so blessed my little heart. I'm just like, yes. So thank you for that. Thank you for giving us not just giving us the textbook, because I had a therapist once, right at the beginning of COVID. And I really started then to really deal with some things in my life, and little 90-year-old man, and it was during COVID and everything was on the phone, and I felt like I was just talking to my grandpa or my uncle, and I would get off like, oh, that was nice, but nothing was changing. Nothing. Yeah, he's so sweet. And he told me, he's like, I'm 90 years old, and my wife, was 80 something, and they both were still practicing, and I'm like, oh my God, they connected me with you.
Right.
That's not packaging, y'all.
But he didn't have what I needed. Somebody that was going to be real with me and not pacify me. So here I am, and you're giving me information to say, okay, you are on the right track. You are doing what's best for you. And because I don't feel guilty about it or think that I was wrong, but just to hear that, it's good to hear every now and then, yes, this is warranted. You feeling this way is warranted. You can have that. And if, oh my God, your post, I've got to go to your Facebook page so I can like and share that post. Because if they're not respecting your boundaries, you have your answer. Point blank, no questions asked. It's that.
Right.
Done. Okay, so then why am I worried? Why am I upset about it? Should not be.
Just
Moving
a dumb
on.
problem at this point. Yeah.
Yeah. Moving forward. I'm excited about having you back on the show. My February can't get here fast enough.
I know. Give them your social media so that they can be able to follow you. She drops a lot of amazing gems. I know I've been recently in her inbox like, "Ooh, girl, look at you, a fly on the wall."
Oh my God, yeah. Yes. Okay. So I have a couple of pages, but I'll give my business one first. Okay. So it is Phoenix Healing Services. That is on Instagram. I recently, this is like my biggest joy right now. I joined TikTok, and so I'm going to start doing more videos and tips on there. So on there, I am spiritual therapist 444. Let's see what else. So yes, if you look up Phoenix Healing Services, the IG will come up, and that's actually my website as well. If there's someone that is wanting to get counseling services, that's the way to reach us. Yeah, I think that's it. I didn't even talk about how I'm also an author. We will push that also, but
Save we're gonna get
Yes,
all
yes.
of that.
They'll just have to come back for part 2.
Yes, come
Exactly.
back for part 2. Absolutely. So go follow LaShawn, check her page out, her business. If you need services, you do virtual services.
I sure do. I sure do.
Okay,
It can
well,
go
there you
anywhere.
are.
Yeah.
You don't have to be in Delaware. You can be anywhere. How about
Mhm.
that? And
Mhm.
get the services that you need. And just make sure you don't turn your camera off or lay down, because her voice is going to absolutely put you to sleep. Because I'm like, oh, wow, I'm
In
so
the best way
relaxed now.
possible. Right.
Exactly. You grab your coffee and get ready to do some work. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Mhm.
No, don't grab your coffee. You need to grab your Alive. I'm trying to get
Yes,
people
yes,
to understand. You need this Alive, these superfood vitamins. You need that
Ooh,
to
okay.
keep you going.
Shoot me that link too. I love new products that are for wellness.
I got you.
Okay.
I will send you the link. Absolutely. So y'all, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We know without a doubt that you enjoyed what you saw here tonight. So please share this broadcast out. Subscribe to the page. We're on every single Tuesday, unless we say otherwise, on Tuesdays at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6:15 Central, because that's for me, I'm in Central Time, and then 4:15 p.m. on Pacific Time. You got your covered anytime you want us, and you're able to go back and view the show and watch it again. We don't delete it. It's always there. So you're able to do that. Go on to House of Peach page, Morgan's page, my page. You can see all of our previous shows. If you're a female entrepreneur, you have not been on, hey, come on. We want to have you on. We want to spotlight you. We want to talk about it. We want to hear all of the great things that you're doing. We're not stingy. We're not shy by no means. So we want to discuss it all. This is a no judgment zone. We want to hear everything that you're doing, and we will you get connected with somebody that needs your services or needs your products. We're going to get you connected. All right, we're going to sign out, but until let's see, what's next week? Oh yeah, it's not Christmas yet. What do we have?
Yeah,
Like
no, we got a couple, 2 more weeks. Two more weeks.
I can't believe it.
3.
Oh,
Well,
not
3.
ready.
Yeah, I was like 2 more for us, and then so 3 till Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm not ready. I'm definitely not ready. I'm still trying to understand that it's December. It's December already. Like, wait a minute. It's not processing. However, it is what it is. All right, y'all. We're going to sign out of here. LaShawn, thank you so much for coming. It was a pleasure to have you on, and we will have you on again. All right, y'all. So until next week, see you later.
See you later.
Bye.
Yeah, I'm so extra. Express myself, I'm next up. Yeah, what more do you say?